Hello, friends. Good evening. We're about an hour late, but we're here, right?
Kind of.
Kind of. We did have a little bit of excitement this evening. So we went to the gym, and coming home from the gym, we get a phone call from Jacob that says, "Hey, you might not be able to get in the driveway." So there was a situation of vehicle versus tractor right in front of the house. So they kind of had us blocked off, and we had to make our way through the traffic and stuff, get in the driveway, and then everybody was okay. Little minor injury and stuff like that, but I think everybody's gonna be okay. Um, so then we had to get our boys and get everything back over to the house, everybody, and eat supper and all that good stuff. So it just kind of put us a little bit behind for being on in time. So we just figured we'd come to you just an hour late. And most of you that watch, we apologize for being late, but we can't always be in control of the situations and circumstances. But then again, those of you that watch us on the replay, you get it at whatever time you're used to, right? Okay, so give us a little uh, intro and a little warning here.
Yeah. So tonight's topic is not for little ears. So if you have little ears in the room, you might plug those or put in some headphones in your own ears or shove them in another room. Whatever you want to do, just do it now.
So I thought maybe you would elaborate a little more.
I don't want to elaborate yet. You gotta give them time to shove their kids out of the room.
All right. Well, just that there's a little more to it. It's not a crazy conversation.
It's a mommy and daddy married topic.
Right.
It's how your kids got here.
So we've made a little bit of a shift within the last couple weeks. I don't believe that I do any justice by being a pastor and not having a little more of a biblical conversation. And some people don't like it, but that's okay. If they don't like it, that's fine.
They ain't gotta watch it.
Right. So we've got a whole 5 viewers. So I'm not going to worry about tailoring my conversations for anybody in particular. I'm going to do what God's called me to do, and we're going to let Him work it out. So I do have a couple things. So hopefully you've had enough time. Is my nip showing?
Your nipple is showing.
We still want this to be kind of PG. So tonight we're talking about frozen intimacy. And that's a rough topic for some folks. Some of you that may be struggling in your marriage, maybe struggling in your relationship and such, that, you know, the situation is not always one-sided. It's not always the woman's fault. It's not always the man's fault, right? There could be issues on both sides causing your intimacy and your together time to be lacking, right? Now you're going to talk a little bit more tonight. No short answers. You're going to have to get involved here.
Yes, okay? Sir, Bobby.
So I've got a couple things that I want to read. That it's a book that I own. It's Counsel for Couples by Jonathan D. Holmes. It's a biblical and practical guide for marriage counseling, and there's a lot of really good stuff in here. So if you want the book, this is just one that I use. I use little excerpts and stuff from this to help in the counseling sessions that I do. But there's a couple things particularly that I want to talk about. And that part of the conversation is that intimacy, sexual intimacy in marriage unites couples together. And so there's a difference, and I don't want you to misunderstand this, but there's a big difference in just being intimate and being sexually intimate. Being intimate with someone, which you should have in your marriage, a strong intimacy with your time, your sharing of your dreams, your thoughts, your concerns, and really being able to just empty out your soul to your spouse, right?
Yeah.
And not hiding things, right? Come on, men. Come on, women. Stop hiding things from each other and bring your marriage into an intimate place, because there's a lot of issues that if perfect example here, if we had a separate bank account, then am I really being honest with my finances with my wife? Or are there things that I'm saying, no, this is my money and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do these things, or I can use my money in ways that she don't know about, and she could do the same thing. But for the two to become one, in my opinion, in me being a pastor and being a counselor, that I would say that that is a step in the wrong direction to have anything divided. A house divided is a terrible thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I can't trust her with my money, she can't trust me with her money, then we've got a problem already. So that the situation of being intimate is one thing, but tonight's conversation is mainly about sexual intimacy. That sexual intimacy in marriage is not only designed to bring God glory, but also unites husband and wife in a one flesh relationship. So in the words of Genesis chapter 2, verse 22 through 25, says, Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman. Because I imagine, if I read into this a little bit and I think about the brain of Adam, the mind of a man, when God presented this woman to him and he said, Whoa, man. Right? Whoa, man. We will call her a woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. How many men and women really want to just cut the lights off? I don't want you seeing me. I'm fat. I got these love handles, right?
Maybe. I don't care. It is what it is.
So, for the relationship and the marriage, that shouldn't be an issue, right?
No.
Your physical shape should not be an issue of whether I'm turned on or not.
No.
Right? Because if we share an intimate relationship, then our sexual intimacy won't have anything to do with your shape.
Right.
Or if you're a little older and things have changed from 20 years ago, if you're a little less in shape, if I could say that nicely, right?
That was very not.
But I'm just saying that there are a lot of guys out there. I'm in a warehouse a lot, and I hear the conversations, and we've all watched TV. We see the things on TV, and we see the complaints. Well, she's just not attractive to me anymore. Why? What have you been looking at? Where are your eyes all week long? Right? Is there some kind of mental stimulation that you need for your wife to be attractive to you? Then obviously there's something going on.
Yeah, people lose focus because, like you said, they don't have like a normal intimate relationship.
Right, and we talk about that all the time, about communication and making sure that those lines are always open.
Yeah.
Right. That is a major part of the sexual intimacy breakdown. That sexual intimacy in a marriage is supposed to be regular.
Yeah.
So the little study or the survey that you read a couple weeks ago.
I didn't read it. Okay, it was on Instagram. But it was a dude, and he put up a poll, and it was 3 options of how often married couples have sex, and one of them was rarely, and then the middle one was
2 to 3 times a week.
no, it was like 1 to 2 times a week, and then the top one was 4 to 5 times a week. So the percentages, like the top one, the 4 to 5 times a week, I think maybe it was 3 to 5 times a week, was like 2%. That blew my mind. I was like, 2%.
Yeah, and the one that was like maybe twice a week was the highest.
It was the highest, but not real far behind it was the one ever so often. Like, what?
Yeah,
Y'all are married?
So I worked with a guy one time, and we had, I was new in marriage, and we were having conversation, and he said that every week, every Tuesday,
It's scheduled?
every Tuesday it was scheduled.
Well, that ain't no fun.
I was like, what? Every Tuesday.
Babe, let me pencil you in.
Yeah, right. And it was an agreement that they had every Tuesday, whether you feel like it or not.
Wow.
But that's the state that most relationships are in. If they don't schedule it, then it might not happen. But in the people that we talk to, and the stereotypical marriage relationship, that it's nearly non-existent. And there's so many jokes, like the one in particular, that there's a joke for a long time. It says, what is the one food that is proven to lower a woman's sex drive? Wedding cake. and we laugh, but it seems like that's so true, because it's all about, dating. Oh, I love you. I'll pet on you. I'll rub on you. I'll be a part of every one of your desires, and I'll be the man that you really want me to be. But then as soon as the rings go on and the honeymoon is over, then the man's no longer trying. So guess what? No, she doesn't want anything to do with you.
No, because I, from a woman's perspective, I'm not just your sex toy.
You're not a piece.
Right.
So when the man, it's two-sided. It's not always, but the majority of the time, the man doesn't try to be emotional and conversational with his wife, and that causes a breakdown. And then she's like, well, if you're not going to talk to me, you're not going to share anything with me. And most guys are like, oh, here we go. Here's the emotional stuff. But it doesn't have to be that way, ever. You make that choice. If you would continue to be the man that you were when y'all started dating, and you continue to date her, she's not going to withhold that from you. There's going to be a connection with you physically being around, you mentally and emotionally being connected to her. I'm not saying that you got to be a sissy. I didn't say that at all. But I'm saying you got to be mentally and emotionally and spiritually connected to her, and then she'll be physically connected to you.
Yes. But also it has to be like the same, even in the sexual aspect. Like, you or I, either one shouldn't be wham bam thank you ma'am.
Right.
Like, you got to think about the other person too.
Right. And so that's another
I feel
part.
Like that might be where a lot of men in general maybe go wrong.
Yeah. And that's very true, that the woman is not very likely to be enthused and be ready, because she's thinking, well, I don't really get much out of this.
Yeah. So.
And there's plenty of studies that say that the women just don't reach satisfaction because the men are not performing for them. It's all about him. And again, wham bam thank you ma'am, we're done, I'll clean up and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's not how it's supposed to work. So let me read this to you. In The sexual intimacy in marriage is supposed to be regular. Um, so Paul touched on this in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 2 through 5. Each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. But, here we go, in the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. And that's another thing, is the man, I can speak from the man's perspective, that the man's lack of self-control doesn't mean that you have to have it every day, but every day is a great thing. But you separate yourselves by mutual consent and devote yourselves to prayer. And that's another thing that breaks down in the marriage relationship, is that there's no real conversation. There's no consent on why we do or don't have our time together. And that breakdown is that most guys kind of give up after a little while, and they think, well, there's, she give me the cold shoulder, 3 weeks in a row. That's not a healthy marriage. You got to find out why she's giving you the cold shoulder. It's probably because you're not doing something in the relationship, or you're not helping out with the kids, with the home, with something. There's something going on that is broken and needs to be attended to, right? Mm-hmm. So if I am supporting you emotionally and spiritually and financially, and we're working together in our relationship and in our home, then you're going to be more likely to say, hey, I have a reward, right?
Yeah, well, because it makes me feel closer to you in general.
Right.
And then when I feel like, I don't want to say deeper in love, because that's not the right word, but when I feel closer to you, more connected to you, then I'm like,
right. But that's the thing. There's this breakdown in society that it's in, I believe, what was it? I read that the study that I read was done back in 2000, because obviously things have changed over the last 22 years. But back in 2000, it said that 15% of sexually intimate scenes in movies were with married couples, and everything else, 85%, were non-married. And so our society has said, don't get married, just go fool around. But you don't understand what that does to people mentally. You don't understand what that really does to people spiritually. It breaks you down and causes, it really literally causes mental issues in your life.
Well, and if you're not with the right person at the right time, like, it's just not the same. Like, it's not meant to be.
Right.
So you don't get the full effect anyways.
Right. And God designed it. God designed marriage to be between a man and a woman, and in his way, that you come together, joined as a marriage, not to say, hey, yeah, because you won't give it to me, I'll marry you, and then in 2 years I'm done with you and I'll go find somebody else. You don't get married to get divorced and do this whole craziness all over again.
Right.
Our society's messed up, folks, and I'll tell you that 100%. And relationships suffer every day, but the biggest problem is that people won't read their Bible, people won't acknowledge God, and they want to do things their own way, and then they wonder why it falls apart. So, what is your deal here? You're distracted.
I'm looking at my calendar so we can announce the giveaway. I forgot the date, dude.
Come on, we're dead air here.
December 4th.
December 4th. Okay, there you go, Allie. Click that. All right, so December 4th is what?
Our next giveaway. I answered the question.
Give them some detail.
It's the next giveaway. So enter by likes, comments, shares. But you have to like and comment.
Mm-hmm.
A share will get you an extra.
If you like and share.
If you like,
if you like,
and comment and share, then you get 2 entries.
Yeah, and we were a little bit lenient last time, but this time we will not be. If you don't like and share,
no comment
and comment, you don't get 2.
Right.
But if you like and comment, you get 1.
Yes.
If you like and share, you get nothing.
Gotta follow directions, folks. I mean, yep.
All right, so we're going to say thank you to Allie because she's been changing our little banner at the bottom. So we have a special guest producer this evening.
So you want to show them your flower you made?
She's sitting over here just
making
working
flowers
away
with tissues.
So I hope this helps you. Again, fix the broken things in your marriage. You know, a lot of us that come, if we were born in the 80s back, we're used to trying to fix things that we have instead of just throwing things away and buying new or seeking new. Work on what you have and make it the very best. No, that is not allowed.
Sorry, it's too late.
So if you're struggling in your marriage, there are very good options and healthy options for you to make it work and make it right. So if you're not married and this show was not for you tonight, then maybe you know somebody that it is. Maybe you can share it with them, or you can use the information to help them along. So what else do we have? Nothing.
Nope.
All right, then outro us.
Good night, y'all.
All right, we'll see y'all next time. God bless.